Eric's not here. All right, so call to order. Reading minutes. We have citizen comments. No. One of these days you're gonna say yeah.
Oh, hello. Make sure you get your thing while you're here. Oh, yes, thank you.
All right, discussion items. We have Captain Jacqueline and Jason Thompson with us today. We discuss crosswalk with low visibility specifically, but general all around.
You kind of brought this topic forward, right?
I did.
An experience.
3 experiences. 2 of them were extreme, so they might be outliers. But I was crossing from Mango Tree to Brackenberry Square, and I'd hit the light, and the person in the far right lane, the lane closest to me, had stopped. The next car in the left lane was further down the street, so I thought, hey, no problem.
Yeah.
And they breezed on through. It was close enough that I could put out my hand. She did see me and she stopped. I could tell she was mortified. It wasn't an intentional thing. But if I hadn't seen her continuing to do, I even had a bright rainbow umbrella.
Oh, wow.
So like, and then the other time is Mark.
Well, that's a risk in anything. It's 4-lane road or 2 lanes going in one way. And it's monumentally worse if the vehicle that did stop for you is a giant truck or a tall vehicle. Because then the person in the other lane can't see you at all.
In this instance, it wasn't, because I
It
could see
wasn't,
over
yeah.
the car. And I'm short, I could see over the car and see the truck down the street. So, well, they weren't paying attention, even though there was the car that was stopped for me and then a couple of vehicles behind it.
How fast were they going?
Not terribly. I mean, as soon as she had crossed a certain point, she saw my umbrella and she had enough time to slam on her brakes. But
Were they close to the speed limit?
I would say yes, they were within this limit.
Because I was gonna say on Main Street, I feel like that's
I think-
speed on there.
Yeah, speed limit is 20 there.
A lot of people still don't know that.
Yeah.
And I still see, I mean, and that's besides the conversation. I think speed is an issue.
Does it keep on one side but not on the other side?
35 on.
Okay, that's what I thought. Just the other day, a car scared the crap out of me going up Fifth Street. I was walking up the hill and it just heard this, and they had to have been going about 35. But that didn't almost kill me. One that really pissed me off, and I was determined to bring it before the commission, was when I was crossing from Brackenberry Square to D Street, parking, and the car in the left lane had stopped for me, and the young man behind him swerved to go around, flew through, and then got back into the left lane after he went through the crosswalk
Before you cross.
while I was crossing.
Yeah.
Yes.
These are both events that have lighted crosswalks.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I thought they were flashing lights, right?
Yeah, those are both
Yeah.
lighted intersections.
Yeah.
I think the issue on the D Street crossing is that the lights are always blinking. And so people view it more as a suggestion than anything else.
Walk it out.
And I think a lot of people feel that way about from Mango to Brackenberry. It's suggestion that you stop. Not,
Well,
You mean
when the lights are flashing, it's law, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it is, but there's just so many caveats. So like you actually, like in this case, you're in the crosswalk. A lot of people will be like, "We didn't stop for me." You actually, it's a double up. You actually have to be in the crosswalk for the car has to stop. So if you're standing on the sidewalk,
You know,
the car doesn't have to stop. But so they're basically telling you, go to the roadway. Pray that they actually are going to stupid law because it,
downtown.
yeah.
And I park in D Street and I work on Fifth and Main.
So you have to cross there twice.
Twice a day,
And
yes, on both
and twice.
crosswalks.
So you're the
And there
expert.
are some days where I woke up bitter at the world. I'm gonna do it today. I'm just gonna start walking and we're gonna see what happens. I feel brave.
Living on the edge.
Might I,
That's how I feel it.
might
But
I
then-
say that it's great that you're even using crosswalks. The number of people who just jaywalk across Main Street wherever they feel like it is unbelievable.
And I think.
And if any of them get hit,
Fine, like I caused that ruckus.
Well, that is a problem with people darting out to park cars. There's not a lot we can do to protect that. At least in the lighted intersections, there is some protection for use of pedestrian.
Mhm. But
One
it,
of the things we had kind of chatted about, sorry.
No.
And I don't know if this is even structurally possible, but maybe moving in the direction of raised sidewalks, slightly raised, so like it's essentially, a 4 foot speed bump.
Like a refuge island kind of thing.
Something like that. I've
The,
seen
the
those
problem with those is, at least from a street maintenance standpoint,
rainwater.
is wintertime.
Yeah, plows, rainwater, et cetera. I definitely was considering that too, but. Just getting a structural barrier, I think, would help.
Yeah, I know with the project that was planned during the reconstruction with the pipes and all that stuff that was in the works, there was a lot of pedestrian improvements that were planned during that project. Obviously got shut down because the voters didn't want it. So I'm not sure
Yeah,
financially how that project would occur now because of all the improvements and costs that would be associated with that.
well, see, that's what cracks me up, is everybody wants the infrastructure, they just don't want to pay for it.
We're at in this town, yes.
How much, I mean. So I didn't actually look into the law, but. Would it be feasible to turn those lights to red so that people. Would think, ooh, I need to actually stop, not, it's yellow, it's suggested.
So anything's feasible, but to turn that into a traffic signal is about a $40,000 or $50,000 upgrade.
You're right.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's never easy. You think, oh, they can just put red light.
Yeah, just wires, but then.
How much would it be?
Oh, like, no, it's a whole other thing.
Wires will light to the
well,
crosswalk.
there is a button, right? You push a button and then it triggers a strobe light.
Not from Brackenberry to East.
Just on Main Street. D Street is just a flashing yellow
Why isn't the strobe light mechanism installed over there?
because that one's just on a flasher. It's just the
And
way
it's
it was
always
installed
flashing.
Right.
many, many years ago.
Which that's kind of silly design. Something's always doing something, you're gonna eventually not tune it out. And it's just, yeah, cause my noise.
Just highlighting the crosswalk. That was the decision that was made by the city long.
A long time ago. And I was told by Public Works way back then, or the street department, whatever, is they don't want a traffic light that turns red, not on a cycle that would just intermittently be triggered by a pedestrian, because cars won't look for it because they won't be expecting it.
Yeah.
And I go, really? And the flashing yellow is safer? And they go, well, studies show that it is.
Yeah, so if we were to put a signal there, you wouldn't have a pedestrian button on the signal. The pedestrians would be on the cycle of traffic. Like all the other intersections downtown, because there is no buttons on any of the downtown signals. The pedestrian cross when the light turns for traffic.
then
Well,
what
but
triggers
further
the
down
stop?
Main Street,
The strobe light is the crosswalk, that's different, that has a pedestrian button,
Okay.
and that just lights up the strobes. That's technically called an RRFB, rapid, rectangular rapid flashing beacon, which is a different type of traffic control device.
I have noticed the other crosswalks downtown. They are at intersections technically. They're not at through intersections.
These are mid-block crosswalks, that's.
Yes. But people don't even want to stop at those other stoplights either. And I will be, again, I get, depending on the day, I get very brazen with what I'm willing to do in the crosswalks. Because the one, was it New Sixth Street? You've got that little gazebo there for the coffee shop, and you have to be out in the road, peeking your head around the corner for a car to see you and stop.
Part because people are just always in such a big hurry too, so it's like, I don't know how much that's ever gonna change, and that can get really challenging as well, you know?
A lot of challenges downtown.
Like I'll defensive drive because like even when the light hits a weird angle on Main Street, you know, and there's shadows from the trees, it's hard to see. So I'll probably be going under 20, you know, waiting for someone to pop out somewhere and then you got people behind you just throwing a fit because heaven forbid you don't want to run someone over, you
And
know?
that person is deciding that you're going too slow, then they dart around you, and then we have the situation you're.
Exactly.
You probably see your parking.
Yeah.
That's because.
Yes, yes, and that's very like.
As I say, like you said, had they approved that, where everything was gonna be two-lane, probably 90% of this would resolve.
It would be much safer. for
Because
the
it's no
pedestrian.
different, like those two girls that got hit up in like Thane and
Preston.
Preston. They were walking across at a crosswalk, and granted, they're going Thane, so you got. You're allowed your hand there, but like, one car stopped for them. And, but same thing, the other person doesn't know if they're making a right turn or it's not, just like up there, you know, with the big plan they had for Thane Road to get rid of all these, 16 driveways within cause everybody turned left and right in it. I mean, it's just crazy, but that didn't go anywhere either. So, not saying it's all engineering, but a lot of it, just like downtown, like, we've tried to do, we haven't done it in a while, I'm not on patrol anymore, but like we would put an officer in plain clothes and just walk across crosswalks and see if we could catch anybody. I mean, that catches a few people and word gets out, but it's really good, It's sure we're doing something, but even like trying to enforce 20, like where do we put a cop car to even stop anybody there?
All right.
And then
Place
there's
to.
no place like do it, and then we do, then we're blocking the lane and everybody's zooming around. Yeah, it's just not to make excuse, just it's a tough place to do it because there's just, and then the visibility is really tough. So, because I know I probably get a call from the mayor at least once a month about some car he saw speeding downtown, or something that say he saw. All right, we'll go take a look. So yeah, I'm not trying to, downplay it because I've been here 20 years now and we've been dealing with that. We've been doing crosswalk equay stuff down there and then of course people out there, oh, entrapment. You might want to look that up, but we can do it, but yeah, it's, other than had they, you were able to make it back to two, because I think like Shaver pointed out, when you have that one stop, either people zoom around you or they just don't see it. They're not paying attention or they're like, oh, it must be parking. I'm gonna go around them. And there you are.
Well, is there a way to add more signs down there, like when it says like must stop for pedestrians and
We
crosswalks?
could, but the problem is we already have sign pollution down there and we're removing quite a few signs because of that, so.
It's true. That's where people don't see where you started this conversation, the 20-mile-an-hour sign. People say, I don't know if it's 20. Hey, well, there's signs. I don't see any signs. Well, they're there. They're just not big.
I'll tell you, I was especially paying attention yesterday when I was going down Main Street. And I don't think I'd ever noticed those signs at the crosswalks before that just have the person walking. I was like, I haven't even noticed those before, but I try to be hyper aware of crosswalks. I almost hit a woman the other day when I was trying to go to Walmart because I thought she was going to turn, but she was going straight. I mean,
That's a Clarkston.
I know.
I would like to say that the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit was lowered to that for pedestrian safety. I would like to say that, but that is not the reason it was lowered. It was lowered when they put in diagonal parking on Main Street.
Which is another issue.
Because we need to quiet
the
the traffic so that people can pull in and back out. And so it was all car safety. It was not, because I had that conversation when they lowered it. And it's like, and you're doing this, why? And you're putting the parking on the wrong side of the street. It should be on the north side, not on the south side of the street. I talked to 2 city council people and 3 in public works or vice versa. And I was
The feasibility of that. I must confess, I was not aware that the speed limit was 20 miles an hour.
There you go.
I'm the guy that needs to be pulled over next time you see it.
I mean, 5 miles.
First of all, do you know where that's posted off the top of your head?
It's posted coming into town.
They're actually like a flashing, they put up a solar panel, or not, it's actually like they.
It's a
It's a
radar,
fashion
it's a
going in.
radar sign that actually
Right.
shows you.
And then right after it
There's
has
a
some.
20 mile an
Oh,
hour.
yeah,
Yeah, we
speed
get
limit.
desensitized to those things.
Right,
Yeah,
by-
100%.
there.
Right by the Lift Park Hotel, when you cross the bridge or come in from Snake River Avenue. And then I don't quite know where else there is, except at the end.
And then the
I want to warn everyone about this.
follow-up question to that, I don't know whether or not, I mean, first of all, I don't think we need to do anything unless there's evidence to support that it will work. Well, I have seen in other places where there's a lot of paint on the pavement itself, just paint. This is an alert, 20 miles per hour, right on the pavement. I don't know if that is effective. I've just seen it before, and is that something that could be considered at the, the early part of Main Street? Just, or at intersections maybe.
I would have to look up studies to see how effective it actually is. It's an extreme maintenance bill. You know that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
More so than the signs or any of that stuff.
Yeah, because it has to be repainted regularly, and with winter and freeze thaw cycles, sun beating on it, we'd have to repaint it probably twice a year to keep it looking easy.
Okay.
So that's a big expense right there. Signs, you put them up once and they're good for 15
Right.
years, unless somebody knows.
But it is kind of a workaround for if we are experiencing sign pollution, as you put it. I don't know, I was kind of considering that, because if it is effective, and it potentially prevents somebody from being injured at a crosswalk, it might be something to consider, but
Do we have history of accidents at crosswalks along
Not
that
many.
corridor? Because I'm not aware of
It's-
it.
I think we just have a million close calls.
Yeah.
We've been pretty lucky, usually because, well, most people are speeding down there. Most of the time we don't have them going too crazy, except a few, but like, I guess, there's going more than 20, but, so they are able to stop fairly quickly. So we don't get a ton of pedestrian. Like, we thought for sure, like I thought the guy in parking was, but anyway, I thought for sure we were gonna have a lot of accidents, with people not being able to see back it out, and luckily we haven't had those. But I know, I try to avoid downtown for that exact reason, because I know I'm gonna be like, all right, so wait for somebody to pull out, somebody to walk out, somebody to back out, and like, so I never know what stores are even down there, because I can't even look at the stores, because we're so busy looking at, try not to be, not to be a subject of an investigation.
There's actually one of the nicer things I've seen downtown is that when somebody's trying to back up and their backup lights are on, cars will give them space. They're more apt to stop for the vehicles than they are for the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't want to
What was
damage.
the Idaho laws on, because I know like Washington obviously has cameras on a lot of their traffic. But I thought there was something
I
Idaho
don't
we
know,
weren't allowed to
like,
do that.
no, they don't, camera enforcement, I don't.
They
Anyway,
don't
so it wouldn't
allow
even,
it. It's forbidden. Wow.
yeah, because it would, at least for side crosswalks, that would have been kind of nice, because at least you could catch people,
I do it right now.
speeding. Like the automatic thing.
So
Yeah.
is the city's history with the handheld flags isn't very successful, right?
Take those flags were there for like.
Yeah, people see a little careful, for some reason, people need an orange flag.
Well, it happens in Moscow too.
That was when they put them down here, we had contacted Moscow and was like, how there's going, they're like, I don't have a budget to replace them. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're gonna
yeah,
just-
they got lots of-
So it's like,
Moscow.
that was
No, I
really
don't
added to.
like
And the first time I ever saw them was over 20 years ago in Ketchum, Idaho, because they're trying to cross the highway. It is very wide there.
And it's kind of a-
Or Haley.
Another nice idea.
McCall had a bunch of.
But it wasn't just downtown. You had them at intersection near around the college, or at least at Fifth Street, Seventh Avenue.
Yeah.
But yeah, over time, the flags just disappeared. But when people used them and
Yeah,
waved
it
the
would
flag,
definitely
they
be
were
good.
successful.
Probably like
The biggest issue,
Therefore, bring
Oh my
your
God,
own
flag.
flag or umbrella.
the biggest issue will be with them.
Nothing.
The kids take them and they use them across the street. And then they use them to walk halfway home, and then they just toss them on the street before they get to their doorstep, because when they walk home with them, the parents yell at them for taking them home. So then they find a
Well,
part
yeah.
way between their houses.
I think the only other thing that's left, and yes, it would cost money, is we don't have any signaling that has audio cues, does it, like beeping?
No, so that's one of the things that during this downtown redevelopment, if we'd have done all that and upgraded all the signals, they would have had all that.
So the beeping signals is mainly meant for blind people,
It's meant for ADA access.
but it works provided, I mean, when you trigger them, if drivers don't have their ear pods in or blasting their radio loud, that they could hear, you know, the beeping even if they're not visually seeing the
I don't
lights.
know that the drivers would hear the ones that are ADA compliant signals. They're literally meant just for pedestrians.
Yeah, I read-
Loud enough.
Turn up the volume.
I
But then we'd have
read,
complaints from the residents.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we get complaints from the people. so
Because we get
got-
complaints from the residents when we go downtown and sweep and the blowers that are blowing silent.
Oh. How dare you, one? Buckler on
Me
it.
too.
I've run into some of those beeping crosswalk signs, and it is really just a beep beep. It's there for the person at the crosswalk, just to tell them how much time they have to cross. And it beeps, and then it makes a noise when you're not supposed to walk, and then.
And some of them like speed up.
Mhm.
Time. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah.
Have you seen that in the United States? I've only seen that in foreign countries.
Okay,
Where it starts beeping fast, it starts beeping faster.
There was just some across
Seattle.
It beats faster and faster and faster as
the time gets
So
slower.
I was thinking about your point with the markings on the ground. We are stuck with the manual and uniform traffic control devices as our guide for what we can place and not place on the street. I would have to look in to see if that's allowed in Idaho. Because in other places it may be different than what's allowed here.
We have tubes for the flags, right? We just ran out of flags.
Yeah.
Well, we don't put the flags out. Those are put out by others. The city doesn't put those out.
Oh,
So the college or the school districts or businesses are the ones that put those
Have
out.
to pay for them.
is that Moscow? Is that how they do it? Or do they?
No idea.
Well, if I didn't know that. I
We
thought
allow
the
the
city-
encroachment permit for the tubes on the signs. We don't reinstall the sign for the flags as they get replaced.
Well, if the city's not paying for them, do they have to be orange? Well, if I was a
They've
business
always been
paying for
orange.
it, I would
Put
put
your
my
logo on it.
advertising on it. I'd put my logo on it.
That's it.
Because maybe it will find its way back to my business.
Right.
I had no idea that was privately paid.
Just having a-
Hey, Mom.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, I'm
Gonna have
personal
any motor
safety.
officers this summer?
I wonder how much they cost.
Thank
$10
you.
or so. They're, I'm imagining all the ones that go forest, especially on roads. You're obligated to have a orange flag on every.
They're still.
Little striped flag,
There's
like
no-
a-
There's still an office.
We saw it.
Go in some additional information. You know.
Right, and not a bad
I
idea.
did not know they were private.
I didn't
Done.
know that.
He has, but he's not graveyard.
Certainly worth looking at.
They're gonna come up with some-
Right, with fun stuff.
It'll be, it'll work out for
Or-
you.
yeah.
That's
Or
why.
at least they stack down and it's like a.
Today.
Yes.
See your businesses.
We were so close, other than the three that you guys gave us, and then we just had two guys go to Moscow,
I feel like.
bring with others who
Oh,
looked
they
at
want
the
it.
government.
Conceivable.
Twin line, this line,
No.
yeah, and then the whole way to South
I've been
Carolina,
a.
so we just lost four with it.
Continuous.
Like every time we get close,
Do
they-
you fill them and then people laugh?
Yes.
yeah, so now I got a bunch of jobs.
Places where they're
I got-
popular.
We just got a Romero back
Netherlands,
from
yeah,
NIC, and we just got, I got to get on the post. And I got
I mean, you would.
But I got it in background back.
Prioritize.
Well, right now, I did batching, which is good,
Yeah.
but it's the
It takes like a
background
year
and like,
to-
yeah, it's 100%. So we were so close, all we had to do was fill the three new ones.
Yeah.
I lost the conversation.
Well, at least it's not.
It's not
changing.
Around the
We have-
college
Yeah.
was Fifth Street, Seventh Avenue, the old one that had a flag crosswalk, or were there others?
I know,
That's
and
the
that's
one
what
I
happened.
heard.
There may have been some on 11th Street or 11th
11th
Avenue.
Avenue,
or
okay.
by the-
And the college has.
And they can't.
So
The
the
flag
sign
don't replace.
So if the flags are all gone.
that say
it's
like
the
you have to
colleges.
put in a amount of time. I know like SEL does that, like you go to school.
We'll learn something new
but-
today.
The mayor wants to do that.
Oh, okay.
The mayor wants to do what?
Around the school.
Oh,
and
right.
girls.
Oh, never heard of
Orchard.
it. Okay, sorry.
That was from our, the very first flags got placed up there, were placed as a school project. One of the students actually did that as her project as an idea. She's the one that got credit for all that.
Like, taking this one.
It's great.
Right.
And like raise the money for it and everything. Wow.
That's been.
And that's where it came from initially. And so
One of the agencies do. Boost that.
So it doesn't.
But we, you need to look into it.
Do you think
You know
we could
what,
do
I'm gonna talk about it.
a community event? I do know there's Bat Day or Bat Day at the NAIA series. I mean, I'm sure a small flag would be cheaper than that. That people could, like, I'm gonna cut it in your back pocket, snap it out, kind of like a nightstick.
Here's what they're.
You have in rainbows and then people.
Price tag in my car, and
I see them.
I have a little price tag in my car. I'm gonna start,
And the sidewalks rainbow.
I'm walking.
That'd
Oh,
be
right.
amazing.
It would.
We can have.
Oh my God, the way you're talking, and I don't have to walk across Home Street too often, I feel like I need to bring a full size American flag and just raise it as I'm crossing the street.
I have one of those in my car. Here, just throw both of them.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's an issue.
Or a rainbow American
The
flag.
bottom line is, and I think we like hijacked whatever presentation you were planning.
Did you?
Is that
Oh,
when
No, they don't.
Are you just here for the
when they
ride?
say that in reality, there are very few pedestrian car accidents. That's really all anybody looks at, right?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
unfortunately,
Cars getting
we
in my
can't react to
neighborhood.
anything other than data.
Including
Finances are so tight for everything.
post
that we do.
calls aren't recorded.
Yeah, it's typical government, you have to have something, and then you throw money
Yeah.
at it.
Unfortunately,
That's just.
Because I'll tell you, in my situations, I feel like it was because I was shorter that people couldn't outright see me as I was crossing, and I started to think about people in wheelchairs that think it's safe. They can't see over the cars to see anybody else coming and have that intuition about what's to come. So is our first opportunity to change that going to be somebody gets hit and killed? So instead of being like proactive, we have to be reactive to it.
I think the problem is finding the solution that's actually gonna make people do, like, not continue their habits, like, because, you know, you could throw as much money at it, but is it going to actually solve?
See, that's
Well,
what
that's the reason why we have to be following data. But we could possibly use cameras to try and gather some of that data. If we see a pattern of close
You can use
calls,
it for gathering data, just not.
What should you say?
yeah, if we see a pattern of close calls, then it's something we can use to drive our decisions. But we have to gather that data to be able to provide that information to the engineers
how much,
to make that decision.
how
Well,
much does it cost to set something like that up?
I know this.
Do we have cameras right now? I know we have traffic light,
I have a lot of cameras.
but.
We're working on getting some.
Yeah,
we do have a lot of
cameras. But we could tap into those cameras
Potentially.
and do some kind of.
Yeah, I have the,
So we had a
Okay.
pedestrian death sometime in the last 6 months, I don't remember the date, on 21st Street. At least one.
There's been a couple.
Yeah,
And I
that was
don't-
a wheelchair.
No, it wasn't in a wheelchair, and I don't know if we're
Actually,
allowed
then we
to,
had to.
yeah, it was a doctor.
That was
And,
the one in front of Wendy's.
oh, I thought it was
I think that
closer
was-
to Taco Bell. But I'm not exactly sure, I know it was after dark, and I'm not exactly sure if the person was in a crosswalk, not a controlled crosswalk, obviously.
Oh,
And I don't,
In that.
and I don't know if anybody ever got cited for that, but he died as a result of getting hit by a car heading north on 21st Street. And, you know, I kept looking for a follow-up in the newspaper. Heck, I was looking for an obituary too, and it was like a month afterwards that there was an obituary. But it's like, well, that shouldn't be happening, and somebody was at fault. But was it the driver or was it the pedestrian? And
You probably won't find the answer.
no, oh,
I
are you
think,
saying it either wasn't investigated or it was just
I
kept?
don't think every,
Probably won't find the answer.
some things you would have to act like, I don't even know if you can, but some things you would have to request, like a public records request kind of thing, like to get something like that. Not everything is gonna be blasted for. Public information redacted.
well, and I felt
Yeah,
like
depending on the situation, you might not even get it.
was it the issue? So I know which section I thought it was where you would turn to go into Kmart that wasn't at the light. That she was going through that toward Taco Bell. And so it was really nobody's fault. It was just a poorly lit section of the road. And that's what Eric had really lit a fire under, and then he wanted to start. Well, we need to communicate to the community that a person with disabilities has full access to cross the road wherever they want to. And
Well, I don't know about that, but if
Yeah,
the
that-
process.
That is what he said, yeah.
Yes.
and that's where we kind of shut it down, like, you can't teach people that because
If the crossing
Is that true?
was at where 17th Avenue or 18th Avenue
Across the
went
street
into
where-
21st Street, even if there wasn't a painted crosswalk.
You
It's
saw
the
Word of God.
light crosswalk at
that
intersection,
corner.
therefore he wasn't doing anything. But on the other hand, it was after dark and it's on a busy.
But it has to be quickly, like when you're admin.
So, you know,
When there
it
isn't.
shouldn't have happened.
corners, right? That would be jaywalking.
Oh.
Well, in that case, it was connecting
Should we
two,
get ticketed for jaywalking?
two ends of the sidewalk essentially surrounding.
Well, you should probably do that to Plum because that's even more.
I
I do that in front of the sheriff.
Trying to find out. Crash.
I like the camera data gathering.
Yeah, the data
I think
gonna
that's the
drive
better
what
way.
we can do,
Yeah.
then I think that starting with data.
Or I can take one for the team, because I've been willing to do that some morning.
Well. I mean, this goes back a couple of decades, but the sidewalks to school projects drastically increased.
Yeah, let's get the data.
When the sidewalks were put in. That was my idea. Back in the 90s, it's like there are too many schools in the orchards that the kids have to walk on the street because there's no sidewalks anywhere. And so at least, you know, but that doesn't cover intersections. If the point of this agenda item is crossing streets at intersections, it's an issue. It ultimately, I think it's a cultural issue. Cars stop for pedestrians in Moscow. It's just routine. Too many college students walk.
That's why people don't wanna come down here
And
though.
cars do not stop for pedestrians down here in the valley, either side of the river. It's just not part of the culture. It's like, no, you pedestrian, you stand on the curb and wait until they're breaking traffic. I'm not stopping for you. And it's a cultural thing and I have no idea what it would take to change it.
We do like a beautiful downtown thing, like people aren't gonna visit downtown if they view it as unsafe.
They don't like roundabouts here either.
I like roundabouts.
I do too. I do too.
Like, and I'll even go an extra.
Oh, you're kidding me. I wondered if people.
You just go on in circles.
Especially when I would be transporting clients, they loved it.
Oh.
That's funny.
Well, Constance, probably the most dangerous intersection measured by close calls, not actual accidents, in the valley is Bridge Street and Fifth, where there is a traffic light, where Albertsons and Walmart is, and Jiffy Lube and all that. My office is close to there. And there's been all kinds of efforts to raise awareness because the single biggest problem there is, now you don't have two lanes, but you have left turn lanes on each of the four streets. And it's people, I mean, be thankful you don't have this on Main Street. You have people turning left and they're looking at the light. And it's like, oh, okay, I can turn left. I have a flashing yellow light. I'm gonna turn left and they don't look for pedestrians. And pedestrians are crossing and the left turn person just. Yeah, and close calls is almost a daily thing because I have employees who cross that intersection to go to Taco Bell or Albertsons for lunch, you know. And they say we nearly always get hit. I think like in that situation, maybe there shouldn't be a flashing yellow light. It should be you only turn left when you have a green arrow and the pedestrians can't walk. But the city or the state of Washington won't change that, and it's a death trap intersection.
Well, the Fifth Street downtown in and of itself is fairly like that because you either have people on Main Street turning up Fifth Street that do not look for that.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
because
over
they
there
just
for
look at the
people-
light and they turn. And
Yeah.
they're not looking for.
Or there have been a
pedestrians.
few times that people coming down Fifth and then they just are like, whoop, going downtown, I'm gonna they go through the crosswalk so they can see down the road. And I have had people who have even backed up to let me cross and give them filthy looks.
They think the lights are regulating the traffic, cars and pedestrians. People are not thinking, well, the lights are regulating the traffic, you still have to use your judgment on pedestrians, and people don't think that way anymore.
Well, wasn't that what happened to the kid on 11th and 21st?
That one was the only intersection that's really driven my interest.
Cause your office
Cause
is
it's,
in there.
yeah, and it's the exact same scenario that you're describing, because people will turn hard left and not even look for pedestrians. And I've been nearly hit 3 or 4 times there.
Well, and it sounds as though like the kid was going when he was supposed to go, but the car was
Yeah.
going to turn right. Just
Right.
doing what he knew best to do, and
But there's wasn't it a sun issue? though?
Yeah, cause I was gonna say, there's some
And then
mornings
there's that.
where you drive down here or you drive in this direction
The
and
sun is like,
it blinds you.
or
Oh,
the
I
light,
used to-
like, the road reflects.
Yeah.
I used to drive down Idaho Street
Mm-hmm.
east, and that. Oh,
It's the unintended consequence of the yellow flashing light, yellow flashing arrow. It's like, okay, I can turn when there's an opening in the traffic, and you're just looking at the cars and you're looking at the cars, where's there an opening, and I can make a turn, and you're not looking at pedestrians.
And right on.
That might be
crossing
crossing.
too, like you're coming
No, I
on,
went left.
your
Yeah.
light's green and
Oh.
you're getting ready to turn and someone's like, I feel like I'm a pretty defensive driver, but so I'm always like getting ready to turn. I'm like trying to look back here, like is anybody gonna whip through this on a bike while I'm doing my turn? But there's a lot to pay attention to.
So that's what I was just gonna ask Jeff, that you've been here since before those flashing yellow project went through. Did you notice a decrease in accidents when that changed? Cause that was the whole point of that project was
That-
to,
Did you notice an increase?
Well, that threw people off for the longest.
it did.
It was just like roundabouts until people figured them out. You're like, I had a million people ask me, it's yellow coming out. I was like, yeah, so yellow, go through, proceed with caution.
Cause the
But
traffic,
you don't necessarily have the right of way, it's not agree, but anytime you throw something new here in town, like I say, the first roundabout.
so the
Jesus,
progression of
we're not-
traffic has that evolution outside of this valley occurred 20+ years ago. Lewiston didn't adopt that until the last 10 years or so. Maybe 8 years ago is when that one went through. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's just.
I guess
So
you do have to be careful. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, as I say, it's taken a while for this valley to adopt some of the industry standards, if you will.
Yep.
So that was a progression that the industry nationwide is trying to adopt to lower the crash rates across the country. So that's actually an improvement to the intersections to try and make them safer. The data across the country shows that that is an improvement in intersections
Versus having just.
versus
green
just having
and just
the
red.
traditional red, yellow, green.
Oh.
So I don't know if that has shown that case here in the valley. This valley has some unique traffic patterns that I've not seen anywhere else that I've worked.
The engineering here is just,
It's oddball.
not good.
So I'm not gonna try and sugarcoat that. It's just oddball. It's just the way
Well,
it
it's
is.
just like, I mean, like those girls there, I mean, when you have literally 5 streets coming into Main Road and some are diagonal or some are not, where do you look?
Yeah.
You know, what are you supposed to do? So you do your best and, yeah, so.
Traditional engineering techniques don't necessarily work in this
No,
valley.
they do.
So it's hard to adjust the patterns to fit every application.
I want a rope bridge.
Go back to bikes or horses and everybody will still crash. I don't want
Right.
to.
How does that work with ADA? You have to, cause if they're elevated.
There's a standard that you have
I
and
was
it just
gonna say.
applies a certain slope to that.
Yeah, okay.
They work across the country in various cities and they just apply a certain grade to that rise and fall. And it meets ADA standards.
I was gonna say, my issue with downtown, and I think why these things happen, is there's just so much happening, the congestion.
There is.
You have people turning different ways, you have people on the sidewalk, you have store signs, you have parking lots, and you're trying to find a space, like you're focused on what you're down there for.
Busy downtown corridors run into struggles all across the country.
Yeah.
Ours is not unique when it comes to that.
Right.
And there's many of them that are way busier than ours that figure out a solution.
Well, I
I'm
think that's
sorry.
just, I was just saying, I think that adds to why, especially if you have people in your car and you're talking to them and you're listening to the radio, you're just not paying attention to everything.
I'm sorry, there is a way that I think that we are unique, and that is for reasons I've never understood. Why do we allow cargo trucks, cargo trucks to park in a driving lane and unload their merchandise to stores in the middle of the day, blocking a passageway, a roadway? I have seen no other city that allows that. And if they allow it at all, it's only like after 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. or something. And we just have trucks sitting in the middle of passageways, and you don't even know unless you come around a corner or something. And it's not just Main Street. Sunoco off of the dike, they'll just park a truck right there on the dike, connecting the dike over to First Street, parking a truck, and it's like, oh, how do I get around this?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking
How
about.
do I get around this truck? And then they're all over Main Street, a little bit less on D and F Street. And I just wondered, apparently that's legal because nobody is ticketing them.
It's not necessarily legal, but how else are they gonna deliver their goods? I guess that's.
Every
what they-
city in the country deals with this. You either have to have a back entrance, so let them do it on F Street, or you can only do that after hours. And of course,
That's what I
the
mean.
merchants are gonna scream bloody murder.
Well, the logistics of trying to get in the back entrance on F Street with the truck is.
But this is my objection for the record of returning Main Street, and East Street to two-way traffic, if that's ever the plan, because it's one thing, at least if the semi is parked in your lane, you can move over to the other lane. What if it's two-way traffic and they're parked in your lane? What are you supposed to do until the city bans the unloading of merchandise trucks in a passageway?
I have seen where loading zones are until like 9 AM.
Yeah, in other cities.
But
But we're not gonna have merchants, who wanna come down and unlock their store after dark to do that.
I see them all the time early mornings.
Has there been any
I have
conversation,
much control they have over when the delivery truck.
has there been any conversation that you're aware of returning the two-way traffic on both streets?
Yes.
Because I do see another possible solution with reducing the speed limit significantly on Main. Because that's going to push people to F. Or D, whichever one that is.
Well, also it just slows people down because it
Right.
feels more congested when you're.
And
to go
where the
over.
congestion actually is occurring would be slower, much significantly slower. And it would push most of the traffic that is not essential to Main elsewhere, and then Main Street would actually have people lollygagging and window shopping and looking out traffic. I think that would be the solution that I would do if I were, king for a day, but
Yeah, that solution was definitely pushed hard when we had this last bond proposal.
Well, and some people voted against it because of that roundabouts and not wanting a two
I
lane.
think the roundabout was the biggest thing
The roundabout
they
was
did
the
not want.
Even
And
though
they
it wasn't
want their
like-
taxes to go up.
And the
The other
taxes.
well, that's Idaho.
Well, they weren't even gonna go.
They weren't
Yeah.
gonna what?
They thought they were.
They weren't.
No.
They couldn't
They
understand.
didn't believe us though.
That's a-
Yeah.
Communication.
I would love to see it.
No, it was because on the ballot, we had to basically say,
Yeah.
in the event that we can't pay our bills,
Yeah,
we'll have to
Yeah.
collect property taxes, even though we had no intention of doing that, but people don't.
but it was a requirement,
Yes.
so people couldn't understand.
But yes, to answer your question, that has been considered pretty heavily in
Yeah.
the redesign.
We could ask Carol, our public outreach coordinator, she needs to get through this taxes open house that's happening in a few weeks. But we could ask her to do like a summer campaign.
Information.
Downtown speed limit and watching for pedestrians.
Yeah.
That would be great.
We can go to talk.
Because again, one of these days, you're gonna read about me in the mail.
I think it would be relatively easy
Yeah, I
to get
think
a
Parks
letter
and Rec.
this version.
I wonder if we could do it during the end.
And I would definitely,
Have like some
I would get in the streets,
Yeah.
and also communicate
Yeah.
that to the community.
Just the basics. Cause then that way it's
Well,
already happening.
for the
Yeah.
record, we let this conversation be pretty freewheeling, but we're not the safety committee, we're not the traffic committee. Or street committee, I mean, there is no such thing. Where we're trying to keep all people safe at all times, the focus really would be on people with disabilities. Who, everything we've just talked about is double and triple for them if they have visual impairment. Ambulatory impairment or whatever.
Cognitive impairment. I've seen
And cognitive
Joel
impairment.
jaywalk between parked cars, and so you can imagine even at
And
a
we all know
crosswalk.
who
he
Joel is.
thought he was Joel. He has terrified me, and he's walking downtown.
Well,
But I think of the Joels or even the Erics. I think Eric would be willing
it's
to
only
take whatever
two
they
things,
teach.
slow down,
Mhm.
slow down to 20 miles an hour and just be more attentive.
The only time that I'll be in the same category.
That's all people have to do. But I do wanna make note of my pet peeve. Most people would think that the 20 mile an hour speed limit, which you weren't even aware of, ends at 9th Street. It does not. It goes 2 more blocks to 11th Street, which I did not know that. And so one evening, several
Is it-
months ago.
Is it the entirety of the one way? And then once the one.
Yeah,
Like by the
yes,
forest?
yes, to the couplet, to the couplet.
People relying
So
on
I
their-
went through the Wells Fargo
Yeah.
ATM, right through ATM. And then I'm pulling out, wanting to continue down Main Street
It's not 45.
and coming around. So I'm at the stoplight, red light, wait for it to change to green. But this is like 10:30. And I turn the corner and I will admit I wasn't aware the 20-mile-an-hour continued, but I'm accelerating. And before I know it, I have a flashing light behind me because the police officers were like right there at the red Wells Fargo and it pulls me over and it's like, you were doing 25. I go, isn't it 25? No, it's only 20. Till 12th Street,
And then
I
some
go,
areas it doesn't know.
two blocks. 2 blocks. How many people are aware that from the
Yeah.
stoplight, it's 2 blocks and you could be pulled over?
I know some of
And
that.
it's like-
I just assumed if it's one way, it's not one way.
Well, then you are correct, and most people would not do it.
Well, for the longest time, I was not.
I was
Somebody told me it
given-
20
I
down there.
was given-
Like, no,
I
it's
was
not.
given-
I drive down there all the time. I
It
haven't
wasn't
seen
you.
it. But
Okay. But it's like, oh yeah, we're often parked here, is what the officer said. We're often parked here at night. We just want to remind people that it doesn't end at the 9th Street stoplight. And, okay, now I know, and I will tell everyone I know to not speed up after that stoplight. Wait till you're at the courthouse.
I'm probably doing the same.
I think a lot of people do. When I'm following them, they assume that's where the speed zone changes and it's not.
Yeah.
Like you said, is. And after all, that is where the 2 lanes merge into one. So you want to be careful when there's a lot of traffic.
But it also feels as though because it opens up, there aren't so many trees. It just feels like a different part
Yeah.
of downtown.
Because if there's not the little diagonal parking spaces.
Yeah, like it's a whole new environment once you pass that street.
But that's how you learn.
I'm pretty sure I got
I've learned about little quirks in Lewiston's speed limits and traffic laws by that similar method. Officer education.
found out about it in a way that I'm not gonna say in front of Officer Coon. But it was not a good situation. It could have very badly ended for me. I was late for work and I was going like 32. Dude, you know it's 20 down there. No, it's
The
not.
police department.
Yeah, it is.
The police department would never ticket a jaywalker, right? Not necessarily.
Oh, true.
Hmm?
I don't think that's true.
Well, how often do they?
I don't think it's very often, but how often do we complain about it either? So a lot of time do those things. We don't go looking for them. We'll deal with it if we get complaints about it, like if we get some of our regulars who are constantly in the roadway, sometimes we will cite them to be like, well, we've talked to you 10 times a day. Time to then write you a ticket, and then if they still don't get the hit, then we arrest them and take them to jail on the misdemeanor for impeding the normal flow of traffic because they're in the road. So we try and build up to that.
And you said officer, education. efforts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, the most.
It's a lot to run do all that work, just write a
Yeah.
ticket, yeah.
Most annoying location is people who will park at the 5th and Main parking lot by Domino's Pizza. But they want to go on the other side of Main Street. Now, they shouldn't be parking there anyway, because that's private parking, but they will park there. And instead of walking 8 feet to the crosswalk of the parking lot,
Yeah.
just like 8 feet, go to the intersection and cross. It's like Lewiston, now that's an example of pedestrian laziness. It's like, no, I'm gonna jaywalk because I'm going to Town Square, Bravas or Boomers, and I'm just gonna jaywalk here, right at a time when cars are accelerating from the light going from red to green. And it's like, really, you can't just walk to the corner and cross the street. But you see that every day.
So
every
two
day.
things on that one, Mark, because I'm gonna agree with you. I've watched it happen a lot. And again, like it tickles me because it's people where they're not supposed to be. So when they have to scramble and go faster. And that is for Old Town Square. Or
Yeah, Town
Yeah,
Square.
people going to
that's where,
office or
that's
something.
where,
Yeah,
that's
that's
where the parking lot is made for. So those people are parking
Oh,
there.
are some of those spots?
Yeah.
Yeah, In fact, I think the only Domino's ones are the ones that
The
are
Domino parking
non-Domino.
and also for the apartments upstairs,
Mhm. And then the rest of the parking spots are for
Town Square,
Town Square.
but not boomers.
I don't know if Town Square would want to claim Boomers,
No.
but they even have, stepping stones in the,
Oh, yeah, in the garden.
yeah, in the garden,
Little
so
flower beds.
because people jaywalk there so often that people are tired of the dirt getting
I wonder if
kicked
Parks does that
around.
intentionally. I don't know.
Where?
Jaywalk and you'll see it, cause
Yeah,
you
the
do
little
a
garden.
Where the trees grow.
No, for people to step up into the planter.
There are like, there's little like cement rounds.
Yeah. Somebody put steps ups in there.
We could
Oh,
ask Parks if they did that intentionally.
wow,
Oh, I assumed it was the people at the business.
Wow.
Does Parks have to take care of that little bit of,
Parks and maintenance.
okay,
Yeah, those flower beds we talked about.
then they might have been the ones who put it there. I just,
wow, I didn't know.
Or, I mean, I guess businesses might have started. Parks maintains them.
So the jaywalkers aren't stepping on the daffodils.
oh,
Messing up the park.
Oh, yeah.
so they're almost invited to do it.
Yeah, I can see now if they put that there, they're like, oh.
No?
Yeah, I think that they actually have spots like that in other areas around downtown. Where they have like, people got tired of stuff getting kicked around, so they put little invitations to not at least mess up. Party.
You had an idea?
I mean, we're not obviously gonna solve this problem. I do think that from a behavior mod standpoint, what we're really going to need to do, because I don't see us actually effectively modifying pedestrian behavior downtown. But I do, I'm firing still on that slowing Main Street down, going back to 2 lanes. Turning the pedestrian, or turning Devon into a more pedestrian friendly environment. And maybe a better long-term solution, but again, this is really outside of our scope.
But it is in our scope to
Beyond-
draft something to send to city council.
Right, beyond just a conversation itself.
There's a term that is used as an engineering process now. It's called a road diet. And that is exactly what that does, is it takes a big expansive road and shrinks it down to make it more pedestrian friendly and more lower speed, and brings it back down to a more manageable scale.
Right.
And that may be what's in order for downtown.
It makes sense to me from a downtown experience, which is really what we want to, I think, in the long term, encourage, but.
By the way, over in Clarkston where my office is, they're considering that, not in the very near future, but in the foreseeable future for Diagonal Street, taking it from 4 lanes to just 2 lanes, 1 lane in each way, if you've ever driven Diagonal. And
My
when I-
mom lives on Diagonal.
And when, what?
My mom lives on Diagonal.
And when I first heard that, I went to a presentation by the Washington State Highway Department. And I said, don't do that. There's so few 4-lane roads in Clarkston. In fact, like none, except Diagonal. You know, Bridge Street's not 4 lanes. Don't do that. But then the more I look at it, Diagonal doesn't carry that much traffic. And the design is just beautiful, like a tree-lined boulevard down the middle and bike paths and parking, which is not on Diagonal, because there's so much width there that if you're going to reduce it to just 2 traffic lanes and left turn bays, you could really beautify it in something. So
That's.
Oh, so you're talking about it-
And a Green Streets initiative together, and it makes it a more setting.
kind of like Mission Avenue in Spokane. So that could be sometime in the next 5 or 10 years.
It's very popular with stormwater projects because you get so much stormwater credit for all the extra green space and filtration that you can put into the project. So there's a lot of improvements that can go into that. But downtown would be hard because of all the underground infrastructure.
Yeah.
Which again, can't be fixed if no.
I think we eventually plan to bring it back, but Posting.
I appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
We definitely have plenty of questions about this and it seems like.
I'm here if you have any other.
I just came in with rage, no sir.
That
Zero solution.
Well, I've been in this position or in this field for over 30 years now. And I think the biggest answer is to tell people to pay attention while they're driving.
It's really all I was
And walking.
thinking could be
Yeah.
the solution to this. It's just an information campaign that says, guess
only we can
what?
get them to pay attention.
They wrote that down.
Taught all the right things in driver's ed. I mean, what else really can you just?
There have been big cities that have done it where they show like where pedestrian hit, because they don't even look up from their phone as they walk into the intersection.
yeah.
They actually were addressing pedestrians and educating them, like you still have an obligation. If it doesn't have the, like, like you get the watch signal, you start, and then if it turns to like the flashing red before you enter that, people still go, but you're not really supposed to. That's just kind of, we're those people in the middle, you better get to go. But I know larger cities where they had a lot of it, they actually were enforcing it on the pedestrians because they literally just never, go to the fact.
So there's
Literally just walk.
there's a traffic signal technology that can actually track those pedestrians through their patterns and see where they're walking and develop a heat map on what they're doing through that whole process. And with our existing signals, just put a camera up that just focuses on all the goings on underneath that traffic camera, whether it be cars or pedestrians, motorcycles, bikes, trucks, the whole thing. And you can actually develop a heat map with all those pedestrian activity.
That would be awesome, because that, I think it's that intersection especially. And bringing it back to why we're all here, right? Like people with disabilities, they think they hit a sign, they see flashing lights, they think they're good to go. With an intellectual disability, like there are certain road safety rules that you can teach a pedestrian to do just fine. And if
And then
the car
once
doesn't
once you know
care,
that data, then you can develop your engineering style to match that style of pedestrians.
I mean, if you know where people are going to naturally go, then you build for that.
Yeah, exactly.
That.
We don't. It's not just cameras, it takes software and technology to.
Sounds expensive.
It's can be depending on where your setup is currently, because there's add-ons to existing signals that can be as inexpensive as about $25,000 for the camera. And then the software package that bundles that, it uses AI to build all that data. So you're looking at about $45,000 to get into it
Be the person.
per signal, of course. But it is costly, but if you're saving one life, it's a lot cheaper than
Yeah.
one fatality.
I say, well, what price does it cost?
Well, and that's just it, it's cheaper than a fatality.
The Fifth and Main Street
Yeah, I'll be,
intersection,
I will
which is one of the
try,
few
but I will
downtown
take
that
it.
has frustrating. Would be, I think, the five.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very good. Focus on one.
While you're here, gentlemen, are skateboards and roller skaters allowed on the sidewalk in downtown Boise? Well, why did a lot of the signs disappear? There used to be like a sign forbidding it every 200 feet, but most of them are gone.
So we were
The
told
light pollution thing.
by the downtown business district that the activity level dropped to the point where they were no longer needed.
But the law never changed.
Signs for no bike.
Okay, well, there are skateboards and roller skaters on the sidewalks downtown, and I wondered, oh, that law from the
So-
80s must have changed
Yeah, so,
because the signs disappeared, and I noticed people doing it.
so the law never changed. The reason why we took them off is what I mentioned, sign pollution earlier. There's so many signs downtown that we were trying to limit the sign pollution. So
Right.
the 20-mile-an-hour sign would be more visible to people coming through
Right.
downtown.
But see, not all of them have disappeared, because just a few weeks ago, I noticed they still had one of those signs by Community Action on New Sixth Street. And I thought, oh,
Yeah, so
they're
that-
one of those forbidding
That's
signs.
outside of that downtown business corridor
Yeah.
because it's off on New Six.
So technically, it is still.
It is still illegal.
For skate.
We did not change the law by removing those signs on
Okay.
Main Street.
What
Well,
about bicycles and like scooters?
They're pretty sure they're supposed to be in like hiking lanes and stuff.
There's a lot.
I feel like something just happened with e-bikes.
There's a little bit of a change in law coming July 1st. The good news is if you do ride an e-bike and you have a baby, you can now carry your baby in a backpack or in a sling while you ride your e-bike.
Oh.
Legislators.
my
said
gosh.
So you used to have them like on a child seat. No, now you can just strap them to you.
Oh
Literally,
my gosh.
I'm just getting my gas for it, putting the kid back there and zip it up and over the bed.
You can't
Well,
do
they're-
that.
Yeah, this is-
On the road, you can do it on a bike.
Like it has to be a certified.
It says backpack or sling.
Backpack.
That's what we got when we go up.
She can't hold on, she deserves a fall.
Like, I'm thinking like, I'll get my pack frame, bike pack, I can get elk cord out, it'll hold my kid, like, it's not a big deal. I see you got the little thing for the seat.
They're-
No, it's
We're going
they,
back to the papoose days.
yes, that's exactly it.
Is that?
But, e-bikes are really difficult because there's like 3 classes, and depending on the actual speeds that the max speeds they can go. The size of the motor, like if it's less than 750 watts,
And I was like, that's.
stuff like that. But most of them, they have to follow the bicycle rules. So like no bicycles supposed to be on the sidewalks downtown. So technically, e-bikes aren't supposed to be on. And they're supposed to be pretty much classified just as
Yes.
they have to follow bicycle rules. But once you get over anyone that'll go more than 20 an hour, then they become like more of like a vehicle where you don't have to carry insurance, you don't have to have the motorcycle endorsement, but they do have some different rules. It really just depends, like I said, there's 3, and then that's the manufacturers have the 3 levels, and like Idaho adopted saying, yeah, we'll follow those and make the law, but not all states do. So it's
There's always like little kids, it seems like they look so tiny, just like whipping around in the streets over in Clarkston, and I'm like, this is terrifying.
yeah.
Oh, right, so I'm thinking.
In some, like the higher speed ones, you have to actually have like insurance, or you have to have like, it depends on if they have pedals or not, like we were talking about with the pedal assist versus some of them just have like the little, looks like a motorcycle, it's
Yeah.
electric. Technically, those are supposed to have insurance,
Yeah.
registration, at least an off-wheel, like off-highway vehicle thing. You're not supposed to be under 16, it's just almost, that's almost like a vehicle. Then you throw pedals on it, that kind of changes things. And it just depends on the wattage.
Which is funny, because you can have full assist with pedals, you just don't use the pedals.
Correct.
So it's like, that's a
Yeah.
way to
it's-
skip
yeah.
the law there.
It is,
Like,
put some pedals on there, whether they work or not.
yeah,
you know,
just to
just make it look
They're
good.
just funny looking things.
I do have a CTE all staff meeting because the education system in Idaho is getting shaken up. You get to meet a bunch of people, so I do have to go for it.
Is that this? Is that this?
Part of, yeah,
Education funding.
Is it still a law, sorry, just one last question, for people to, wait to turn through a crosswalk or go through a crosswalk until the person's completely to the other side? All the way walked across the crosswalk? I mean, that was something in my mind that I always thought
I
was a
don't
law.
think there's anything that specifically says that, you just have to yield to them in the crosswalks, as long as they're out of the way.
Might be a Washington.
Okay, 'cause I in my mind, I
I
always
think that
followed
should be
that.
off.
I've always followed
And
that.
that makes some people mad too behind me, so.
Oh, yeah, no, because I followed that because I know the people behind me are angry because there's nobody coming the other way
Yeah,
for the
and I'm
person to
like,
wait. They're putting it on the sidewalk.
I would
I
like,
feel like I remember learning that
I would
when I
like
grew up in
to
Washington.
move that we put
Yeah,
the
but
reading
that's
of minutes
still-
to next meeting so that we can get out of here. I
Yeah.
don't have a hard deadline.
Okay.
Okay, so can we move the active agenda to the next? All right, so future agenda items. Did we ever get anything from UGM?
And we'll give him another call.
Okay,
He left me a message and then I've tried to call him twice. And I've left messages and I don't get, so I'll try again.
okay.
Excuse me, I'm down there, pretty frequently with the case managers. This is Jolene. And I can reach out to them and ask them if you'd like.
Yeah,
I see
there's,
them, Jeremy, like on a weekly basis.
yeah, I think they have a specific person who does community.
Okay.
stuff. So, I have her name, but I don't.
I see that all.
I
I'll
can't-
email you.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe I can help.
Yeah.
Culture. All there.
Oh, it is.
I'm not allowed to skip stuff, like no commissioner comments.
Sure.
I'm
Okay.
skipping approval.
Yeah.
I moved it with you.
Okay,
Yeah, moved it to the next.
but that's no staff liaison comments, because I know you guys are always good.
Well, my only comment is we have 2 vacant positions, so if you know people, please encourage them to submit to the city clerk.
Recruit them in 2 weeks when you have your tax day.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That's what I like.
Yeah, I can see where your heart's at with all that stuff.
When I visit,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
multiple children.
Thanks,
on the
Nikki.
back.
Bye.
The motorcycles are designed that way.
The ones that you see like
That's like a
that,
weird
and then they have a
Kodiak.
goat in front of